At 44, I've learned a few things the hard way. Some from nursing, some from raising a family, some from building businesses, and some from making mistakes. And if I can sit down with my younger self, these are the things I'd tell her. And honestly, numbers 4 and 5 have both truly changed my life. So make sure you stick around for those. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that nobody is going to create the life you want for you. For years, I kept thinking eventually things would slow down or get easier or somehow fall into place. But at some point, I realized that if I wanted something different, I was going to have to make different choices. That wasn't easy to hear, but it changed everything. One thing that I wish I had learned a lot sooner is that being exhausted is not something to be proud of. For years, I thought that's what being a good nurse was all about. Always tired, always rushing, always taking care of everyone else before myself. I wore that like a badge of honor for so long, like so many of us nurses do. Looking back, I don't think that burnout is something to be proud of. It usually means that you've been carrying way too much for way too long. Eventually, I got to a point where I just knew something had to change. But anyway, so today I'm finally starting this dining room project, which I'm sure is going to take a few days. I'm starting with this wallpaper, and this is just the beginning of it. And my resident actually picked out this wallpaper pattern that I purchased off of Amazon. I think it's so cute. So let's get started. I've always been willing to take risks. Moving our family across the country, buying this house, opening a senior social club, starting a care home, even putting myself out there online. Every single one of those things came with a little or even a lot of fear attached to it. And I've learned that if you wait until you're completely confident, you'll probably never start. Confidence usually shows up after you take the first step, not before. Most of the things that changed my life started long before I felt ready. The older I get, the more I realize that peace is one of the most valuable things you can have. Not because life is perfect, not because there aren't still problems, but because I've spent enough years stressed out to know what constant stress feels like. These days, I care a lot more about how my life feels than how it looks. A slower morning, more time with my family, work that has purpose. That's the kind of rich I'm interested in now. And maybe the biggest thing I've learned is that it's never too late to change direction. A few years ago, I opened a senior social club, and honestly, it wasn't that it wasn't working. The truth is, I was so burned out. I had spent so many years taking care of everyone else that I didn't even realize how exhausted I had become. And for the first time, I really had to stop and ask myself what I wanted my life to look like. Not just my business, but my life. And when I got honest with myself, I realized I didn't want to build a business outside of my home. I wanted to create a home, a place where I could care for people in a deeper, more personal way. And what's funny is that it's actually where I met my very first resident. At that time, neither of us knew where that relationship would lead, and now she's the first person in my care home. Sometimes life comes full circle in ways you never expect. At 44, I'm still learning, still building, and still figuring things out as I go. But one thing I know for sure is that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change directions. It's okay to pivot. And it's okay to build a life that fits who you're becoming, not who you used to be. I'll see you in the next one.